Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in devastation and anger following the shooting at Apalachee High School, the deadliest outbreak of school violence in Georgia's history. As a father, I'm heartbroken. As a congressman, I'm beyond frustrated that our work to improve school safety can't keep pace with the gun violence epidemic that is plaguing our country. The time for thoughts and prayers is over. It's time for action. Our kids deserve much more from the United States Congress. Guns are the leading cause of death of children in this country. This isn't normal, and it shouldn't be. Our students, families, and communities deserve to feel safe from gun violence. That means taking action, not just talking about it, and I believe we can do that together with responsible gun owners. I'm a responsible gun owner. We want common sense measures too: universal background checks, safe storage laws, and banning assault weapons. These are mainstream ideas supported by the vast majority of the American people. They're about saving lives. Let me be clear, Mr. Speaker. We will not accept mass murder and gun deaths to be the norm. Mass school shootings are not a fact of life. We don't have to live this way. This year, I had the opportunity to go to Parkland, Florida, with Congressman Moskowitz, where we met with survivors of the deadly 2018 shooting to hear their stories. They lived through their worst, and yet they keep pushing for change. But we've failed to do our part in the few short years since that horrific school shooting. Even when the majority of the American people agree on how to move forward. In April 2023, in a survey from Fox News, they found overwhelming support for common sense gun violence prevention measures. Over 80% of Americans support background checks, making 21 the legal age to buy guns, and requiring mental health checks on all gun buyers. In Congress, I'm part of the House Gun Violence Prevention Task Force and co-sponsor of the Bipartisan Background Checks Act. It's simple. If you want to buy a gun, you should have to pass a background check. That applies to sales between private parties, too. Right now, there are loopholes that let guns slip into the wrong hands. That has to end. I've also co-sponsored the assault weapons ban. No civilian needs an assault rifle. These weapons belong on the battlefields, not in our schools, and not in our neighborhoods. There's also Ethan's Law. This is about accountability. It promotes the safe storage of firearms so they don't end up in the hands of kids. It's about being responsible for your weapon, for your family, and for your community. I support a ban on high-capacity magazines, and I support closing the boyfriend loophole. That's the one that lets domestic abusers buy guns. Domestic violence and gun violence are often linked. This loophole costs lives. And let's not forget mental health. We need to fund mental health care and expand access to it. But mental health alone isn't the issue. This is also about guns. We need to act now. We need to keep our kids, our neighbors, and our communities safe. No more delays. Over 40,000 people lost their lives to gun violence last year alone. No more excuses. Massacres carried out using the high-capacity magazines and bump stocks must end. No more indifference. Poor and minority communities cannot continue to be disproportionately impacted by gun violence. No more inaction. Over 20,000 Americans die by gun suicide every year, which is why we mark tomorrow, September 10th, Firearms Suicide Prevention Day. No more deadly outcomes. Domestic violence should never turn fatal because of easy access to guns. We've waited long enough. It's time to act. There's no question that gun violence is out of control, and it's time we face it head on. I'll work with anyone, Republicans, Democrats, and independents, to make sure that happens. It's not just about policy, it's about people. And people are dying. We can't wait any longer. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes